Welcome to The Sound, KQAL-FM's weekly behind-the-scenes look at Minnesota-made music. From writing and recording to distribution and promotion, The Sound is your source for new releases and exclusive interviews from Minnesota artists. Support for The Sound is made possible by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Rolling. Tonight on The Sound, we venture into a world of entertainment. A world of delicious pop hooks and dance beats. It is a world of sweat. And it's a place local band Sweat Boys calls home. Tonight, we are joined on the phone by Benny Sweat of Sweat Boys. Their latest release, You Are My Heart, is like a time machine, taking you back to a world of big hair, acid-wash jeans, music television, and John Hughes movies. I'm Bill Stoneberg. Put on your dancing shoes and hold on as we hit 88 miles per hour with Benny Sweat of Sweat Boys. Tonight on The Sound.
I don't love you. No, I don't love you. No, I don't love you. No, I don't love you. I count the seconds till I see you. These moments pass like lifetimes, and there's nothing I can do, but I don't love you. No, I don't love you. My heart goes in a panic when I touch you. You can't see me today, though you've just got too much to do, but I don't love you. No, I don't love you. You say you'll always be there and forever be my friend. Sometimes you're hard to read, but I know how the story ends. And I promise not to lie to you, and I promised I'd be true. Here lies my promise broken. I don't love you. No, I don't love you.
That was I Don't Love You from the Sweat Boys. That's from their album Nervous Prayers that came out in summer of 2019. A little later in the show, we're going to have their new single, You Are My Heart. But right now, on the phone, I have Benny Sweat from the Sweat Boys. How you doing, Benny?
Pretty well, man. Pretty well. How are you?
Good, good. As good as I can be, you know. I was working from home and all that jazz. But the cool thing is, man, is the last show I saw was a Sweat Boys show.
Hey,
So
there you go.
yeah, for sure, and it was well worth the experience. But I was kind of curious. That last tune we just heard, "I Don't Love You," from Nervous Prayers. Is that? It seems a little more synth poppy, a little poppier than like the first record was a little more. Oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna say maybe a little more EDM or something. You know, it had that like real live kind of dance energy to it. Is that kind of a conscious direction or a conscious decision to go in like a pop direction or?
It was a combination of the stuff I was writing and how I went about actually producing the new record. The first EP was produced and mixed by a guy named Jim Marcus from Chicago, who just really has a knack for just bombastic. He does very big, clubby sounding records.
Right.
And plus that first EP it's basically just party jams anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, for Nervous Prayers, the songs that were coming out of my studio, coming out of me in the studio, I guess. Yeah, just they were a little more, a little poppier, a little more emo.
Right. Well, you know,
a better word.
Every time I listen to it with people, you know, that haven't heard it before, the name John Hughes gets thrown out there, you know, which is very cool to me. I mean,
I'll take it.
Yeah, I love that
I'll
stuff.
take it.
For sure.
It's about the highest compliment I could get for it.
Right.
I mean, you know, I've always been into, you know, like, you know, punk and goth and industrial stuff and whatever, but I grew up on 80s pop radio like everybody else of my age. Me if I don't love Madonna records and all that stuff. You can edit that out.
Yeah, for sure.
The Madonna part. I don't want anyone to know that. You can keep the curse.
Well, and like I said before, Sweat Boys was the last show I saw before everything kind of got shut down here. So I want to get into the real meat here of the experience. Man, you guys have dancers on stage, and sex jail is what I really want to talk about. You guys had there's like a jail cell on stage, and it says sex jail on it.
Yes,
written in that hot kind of cursive. So whose idea was sex jail? How'd that come about? I mean, it was a super cool show. I just want everyone out there to know when shows pick up again, make sure you go see Sweat Boys. But yeah, whose idea was that?
Sex jail. We got booked in La Crosse. There's this place called the Weber Center that is I think it's like a 400 or 500 cap room. Big, nice, brand newish. Like it's only been there for a couple of years now. Theater, it started there with like, okay, we have this massive stage and we have a little bit of scratch and we want people to remember this. Well, what do we do? And for this thing, because again, huge stage and I kind of want to make an impression. So I got it in my head, like, okay, like what if we had the sex cops? They show up in the middle of the show and they arrest me and take me to sex jail. Which is exactly what we did. And there is video on the Sweat Boys Facebook page if you want to go and look for it of me being arrested by the sex cops and put in sex jail.
Oh, that had to be a blast! Oh my God.
Yeah, it was good.
I love it.
It was really fun.
Oh, well, let's play another tune and give people an idea, if they haven't heard you guys yet. This next one is called "I Like to Party," and that's from the album "I Like to Party." Came out in 2017. I am on the phone right now with Benny Sweat from the Sweat Boys, and you're listening to 89.5 KQAL. This is "I Like to Party."
I like the bright lights, I like noise, I like the dance floor, I like to move, I like to feel it, I like you, I like to party, I like toys, I like the bright lights, I like noise, I like the dance floor, I like to move, I like to feel it, I like you. Do you like me, baby? Do you like me, baby? Do you like me, baby? 'Cause I like you. Do you like me, baby? Do you like me, baby? Do you like me, baby? 'Cause I like you. I like to party. I like toys.
So that was "I Like to Party," and that's from the Sweat Boys. That's from their album "I Like to Party," which came out in 2017. I'm on the phone right now with Benny Sweat from the Sweat Boys. Benny, so that tune right there to me really kind of is a good example of the energy that you feel at a Sweat Boys show. And like we were talking a little bit before, you were kind of describing the stage setup with the sex jail, and we talked about the dancers. Usually, when you think of dancers on stage, you usually think of big arena shows and stuff like that. You don't think of like, a local band and, someone from your region. But it gives like an energy, and how do you think that, like what went into that decision to have dancers on stage, and how do you think how does it work out with the audience? How does that impact them or, augment their experience?
Sure. Well, I mean, the reason for it on the front end is that I do 95% of everything just on my own in the studio. I do the bulk of the writing. I do all of that really. And so when it came to how do I present it, I love a good show, right? Mm-hmm. I need something going on to kind of hold the visual interest, and I just think it really makes the show.
Yeah, for sure.
And honestly, the songs hold up on their own, but we definitely wouldn't have anybody actually paying attention without the show.
Well, it's not only the live show, but you guys have a lot of cool stuff on your albums too. That like remixes, things like that. There's lots of I don't know. I like to look at that stuff as like treats, different versions of things and stuff like that. Do you have like a favorite remix of a Sweat Boys track? Because like on I Like to Party, there's a bunch of remixes on there. Do you have a favorite?
Two. I've got two favorites for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The Nikki Twister mix of "Work for It" because if I'm being honest, that one's my favorite only because I actually did the mix on that one.
Okay, that's fair enough.
like the final, like it was arranged by someone else,
Uh-huh.
but the final mix on it I did, and it's the best mix job I've ever done.
Cool.
So just being a prick, I have to say that is my favorite one. But the favorite that I did not do is that G-Biz Black Widows mix, because it's not even a remix. It's just they just scrapped everything and did their own version completely. They didn't keep a lick of the original track.
All right. Well, let's hear one of these remixes. This is Work For It by the Sweat Boys. This is a remix by G-Biz featuring Black Widows. So this is Work For It by the Sweat Boys right here on 89.5 KQAL. So that was Work For It by the Sweat Boys. That was the G-Biz remix featuring Black Widows. And we have Benny Sweat from the Sweat Boys on the phone with us right now. Benny, so you kind of hinted on it before, kind of touched on it, that you do a lot of the work in the studio, stuff like that. How does the writing and recording work? Like, because you've also mentioned collaborating with people as far as remixes go, trading work for album covers. Do you collaborate a lot, or do you mostly just come up with the stuff and that's where it goes? Or
The bulk of it, yeah, is just me
mm-hmm.
in my room by myself. But
Right.
no, I really like working with other people when I can.
Uh-huh. Well, let's go ahead and check out another tune. This is off the album Nervous Prayers. This is the Sweat Boys with I'll Try, right here on the Sound on 89.5 KQL Winona.
I know that right now you feel broken, and it's like this life got too real. Sometimes we don't get what we've chosen, and most times we just can't choose the way we feel. I'll be there when the storm breaks under the big blue sky. The past is not the future, and there's no need to cry. Maybe I can't be your everything, and I won't always know why. But God knows I'll try. I'll try. I'll try. I've got to get it right this time.
And that was I'll Try by the Sweat Boys. That's from their album Nervous Prayers. And we have Benny Sweat right here on the phone with us today. Quick question here. We're talking about writing and stuff like that. Words or music? What comes first for you? Do you twiddle the knobs first, or is there like a phrase in your head?
It's kind of half and half.
Okay.
Yeah, like well, I mean, I guess more often than not, it's probably like the music first.
Okay. Okay.
And because I struggle with lyrics until I don't,
Right.
if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Wrestling with
Yeah.
them until
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they just don't come,
Mhm.
and sometimes it comes all at once, and sometimes it's like bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And yeah, like there's tracks that we've done where the like the music was written in like a day and a half,
Right.
and then the lyrics took like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So and I a lot of times I'll get stuck in this cut where I'll have a really great idea for like the kind of the hook line of the chorus, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh hey, of course, yeah, let's go. Oh, okay, that's gonna be a banger. And then it's like, cool, now I need like 2 verses to go along with that. And
Uh-huh.
man, that's a lot of words.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything has to be as good as what you already have.
Right. Right.
Right. So if you're looking at this line, and you think like, oh man, that line is great, and you're just in love with it, and
Uh-huh.
then everything else you're writing just looks like absolute garbage.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to surround it with, I mean, yeah, that's a tough.
Yep. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like anybody who's ever written anything
Mhm.
has had that moment, and probably quite often, where
Yeah.
you're just kind of like, and then it gets even worse when you finish a song that you really like you're
Uh-huh.
really happy with it, and you're like, oh man, that's the thing. And it's like, cool, now the bar is up here
Right.
instead of where it was before, and now everything's got to be as good or better than that.
Right.
And then God forbid you actually do write something better than that last great thing that you wrote, because
Mhm.
now you're just
Just raising the bar. Yeah.
just got to get better and better. and which sounds great, right?
Right,
Like on
but it,
paper, it's like that's what you want. You want to get better,
yeah.
and then until you do, and then you're like, oh,
Now I got to
now it's
keep this up. Yeah.
yeah. Then the work starts.
Right. Yeah,
So
totally.
you do all this work to create more work,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh
man,
man, it's a never-ending
anyway,
cycle.
yeah, it's awful sometimes.
Oh, well, we were talking about collaboration and stuff like that before. You recently, what was it? This next track. Oh, we're gonna play another track here, endlessly, and on that track, that was a collaboration with. Correct me if I might mispronounce his name here, but Nicholas Stanemo.
I think that's right.
Okay,
That sounds
but
right.
yeah, from Kite and Melody Club. I didn't know Kite before talking to you. You had mentioned them to me, but
Mhm.
Melody Club I was a big fan of. How did you hook up with that, and were you a fan of his before, or how'd
Oh
that come
man,
about?
yeah. I'll keep this as brief as I can.
Okay.
But yeah. So I found Kite. It was a random late night, early morning YouTube rabbit hole find.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was probably 3 a.m. and I stumbled on this Swedish thing called Kite,
Uh-huh.
and I found a song, and the first one I found was the thing that struck me initially was Nick's vocal.
Mm-hmm.
He just has a incredibly unique voice, and I've never heard anybody that sounds the way he does, and it just hit me right out of the gate. And it was just this very dancey kind of poppy song.
Right.
And then I realized that was like an older tune. I was like, oh well, what are they up to now? And the next song I found just crushed me. Just like it just I was just weeping, like just bawling my eyes out by myself at like 3 a.m. Listening to this song, and so then very quickly went out and found everything I could, and any of my friends who were into that kind of uh, synth music, I very quickly like sent them links and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward maybe like a year and a half later, and I found out they were doing their first ever U.S. tour. So I contacted Steve, the guy that does the booking at the warehouse here in La Crosse,
Mm-hmm.
because I saw a Chicago date, and I was like, okay, we have to go to see them. And he very quickly noticed that there was an open date between Chicago and Minneapolis.
Oh,
So he contacted their agent and set up a show
cool.
in my own backyard, right?
Right.
And then asked if we would open.
Oh,
And so of course we jumped on it.
right.
And again, man, like I have a heart, like there's certain, and I think everybody who that is really affected by music has certain things that like you just they just you kind of, you don't keep them to yourself, you share them with people, but you listen to them alone,
Right.
right? Like
Yeah.
just there's just certain things that like that you just kind of, you have to be alone, either because you need to give it the full attention, or because it just like in my case, like with something like Kite, like I just cry my eyes out,
Mm-hmm.
like every time, like I can't help it. It just it hits me in a place that not a lot of things do, right?
Right.
So so now, like, okay, I'm gonna be standing in a room like with all these other people watching, and I know I'm gonna lose it, right? Like I'm gonna be a mess. And then I have to like, what? I have to open for that? I have to, oh my God. So I have to like, I gotta meet these guys and be cool and keep it together, and then I have to like play a show like knowing they're out there and
Right.
not freak out, right?
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so yada yada yada. I get through it. They are two of the nicest dudes I've ever met. Just very nice, like small town Swedish dudes.
Cool.
And yeah, so anyway, so then the following year, I found out they were coming back, and we got asked to open the show again.
Cool.
And I had this song, the song that you're going to play, endlessly, which is the oldest song we have.
Nice.
And me and Dylan, one of the Sweat Boys, he and I wrote it together in like 2001 or 2002, I think.
Wow.
Like on a 4-track cassette in his apartment on the coffee table. We had a keyboard and a drum machine, and we demoed this thing, and then we lost the tape. And then like 10 years later, I found it, and then lost it, and then found it again, and then realized like, okay, like this would be a great Sweat Boys tune, right? So we redid it. And I had added it back into I had added it to the live shows, right? And then at some point I got it in my head like, oh man, and the other thing too is like, anybody in a band has had those weird little fantasy daydream moments of like, oh, it'd be so cool to do this with so and so, right? Like, oh, if only I could, play the fiddle while Neil Young rambles about politics, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Something like that. Everybody's got that. Like I want to play the drums for Billy Joe Armstrong. Whatever your thing is, like you've had that.
Yep.
And I was like, man, if I could sing with the dude from Kite, I would like, that's it. Like that's just it. So after about a week of talking myself into it, I sent him a message, and it was like, hey, we've got this song that we're going to do at the show. Would you sing this with me? And then just shut my eyes and hit send. And I emailed him the track, and I got a reply back the next day, and it just said, sounds great. Let's do it. Party hat emoji.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And yeah, and I thought my heart was just gonna beat out of my chest. And so show day comes, and I'm like, I did it without vomiting.
That's a plus, right?
Yep, we did it. We did it. There were many tears, and then after the show, Nicholas, he's like, hey, have you released this yet? I said, no, I haven't. He said, okay, well, when you do, if you want me to sing on that, I would do that.
Oh, wow.
And oof, buddy.
Right.
Niagara Falls.
Yeah. Oh, that is
Niagara Falls, man. I was a happy boy. So then when it came time to do the record, I emailed him and said, hey man, like, are you still down? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Just, give me a little bit. And then, so he recorded his parts, in Stockholm, in their studio, and then emailed them.
Oh, wow.
And, and man, when we got those takes back, I just hunkered down in my room, just by myself with the lights off. And again, I just cried my eyes out.
Wow. That is cool.
Yeah. I just super lucky that ever happened. And it's just personally, like, one of the best things that I've ever had anything to do with. Like,
right. Well, there you go, raising that bar again, right?
Yeah.
What's
man.
next, right?
I don't even.
Well,
I don't know.
Let's let people check it out. Let's play it for them. This is Endlessly by the Sweat Boys. This is from Nervous Prayers, and this is featuring Nicholas Stanemo from Kite. So here it is, Endlessly, right here on 89.5 KQAL. And that was Endlessly. That's from the Sweat Boys, and that's from their album Nervous Prayers. I have Benny Sweat on the phone with me here today, so we're talking about stuff and playing you some tunes. Benny, so how can people keep track of you guys? How can people keep track of Sweat Boys, like releases, where you're going to be playing in the future, stuff like that?
You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I am on Twitter, Benny Sweat 69.
Of course.
On Twitter. Nobody follows me on Twitter.
Well, maybe now. You never know.
Nobody. No, my most successful tweet was about how I was wondering how big the dongs were going to be on the Rammstein tour. Like, it's a stadium tour,
what was
so
the
like
consensus?
the dongs are going to be really big.
Yeah, they're going to be huge. Wow.
And I think that's about it. Oh, everything is on Spotify.
Okay, cool.
You can listen to Sweat Boys on Spotify.
Hey, I'm glad you mentioned that. We should check out some tunes right now. Here's something semi-new. I mean, this new single you have, it was released in February. This is You Are My Heart by Sweat Boys. This is featuring The Rain Within, right here on 89.5 KQAL. That was You Are My Heart by Sweat Boys featuring The Rain Within. I have Benny Sweat from the Sweat Boys on the phone with us today. Benny, so that was done with The Rain Within. How did that collaboration come about?
We jumped on a show. There was a tour coming through La Crosse. Mr. Kitty and The Rain Within were coming through, and we played with them. And I had an instrumental that I've been sitting on that I was just really struggling with. The lyrics weren't coming, and I didn't have the melody for the vocal. I just kind of just set it to the side.
Right.
And I just asked if hey buddy, you wanna sing on this? And he heard it and was like, yeah, sure, like let's do it. And I knew what was going to come back would be good because it's Andy. And again, just brilliant voice. He's a great lyricist. And he understands the 80s pop kind of formula real well. But man, it just knocked my socks off when I heard it. It was everything I could have wanted. Yeah, and we threw it out there, and people seem to really like it. And the other thing that I do want to say about that track is it's available on our Bandcamp, so sweatboys.bandcamp.com. It is a pay what you want single.
Ooh.
And all of the money, like every dime of it, is going to be donated to rain.org, which, if you're not familiar, is a sexual assault prevention organization.
Okay.
They run a sexual assault survivors hotline at 800-656-HOPE. RAINN.org is the website. It's the education and prevention materials, as well as support. So yeah, all of the proceeds from that single are going to get donated.
Well, that's really cool though that you're donating the money from that. Well, I've been here talking to Benny Sweat from the Sweat Boys. He's on the phone with us. We're social distancing. Benny, thanks so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure talking to you, and love the tunes.
Yeah, thanks, man. And pay for your porn.
That's right. Pay for your porn.
Pay for your porn.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks again to Benny Sweat of Sweat Boys for joining us tonight on The Sound. For more information on Sweat Boys, look them up on Facebook or Bandcamp. For more in-depth interviews and Minnesota-made music, tune into The Sound Wednesday nights at 6 right here on 89.5 KQAL. I'm Bill Stoneberg, and we just heard from Benny Sweat of Sweat Boys on The Sound. Thanks for listening to The Sound. The Sound is produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us online at kqal.org. Theme music for The Sound provided by Mike Terrell of Fires of Denmark.
I like to party, I like toys, I like the bright lights, I like noise, I like the dance floor, I like to move, I like to feel it, I like you. I like to party, I like toys, I like the bright lights, I like noise, I like the dance floor, I like to move, I like to feel it, I like you.